about the last 3 things you bought that you did not plan to buy. Now think about what kind of week you were having when you bought them. Stressful? Boring? Lonely? Celebrating something that did not feel as good as it was supposed to? There's almost certainly a pattern there. If this pattern of events is familiar to you, stay here. Because this is not a video about budgeting. This is a video about what your brain is actually doing when it makes you spend money you did not plan to spend, and the 9 signs that it is running this program on you specifically. Let's start with the science before we get to the science. Your brain has a reward system. At its center is dopamine, the neurochemical your brain releases when it anticipates something good. And here's the critical word: anticipates. Research from the Stanford Social Neuroscience Lab found that impulsive financial decisions activate the same neural reward circuits as other pleasure-seeking behaviors, with one very specific detail. The dopamine spike happens before the purchase, not after. The scroll, the browsing, the adding to cart, that is where the hit lives. By the time the thing arrives at your door, your brain has already moved on. Which is exactly why opening packages sometimes feels oddly hollow. The dopamine already left the building. Now, the 9 signs this dopamine has a grip on you. Sign 1. You shop when you're stressed, not when you need something. This is the foundational one. Elevated cortisol, which is your primary stress hormone, directly increases dopamine-seeking behavior. Your brain interprets stress as a problem to be solved, and shopping is a fast, available solution that feels like taking action without requiring you to address the actual problem. If your shopping cart fills up on bad days and empties on good ones, this is not coincidence. That is your cortisol doing its thing. Sign 2. The browsing feels better than the buying. You spend 40 minutes in an online store. You close the tab. You feel vaguely satisfied and you did not even buy anything. This is your dopamine anticipation loop working perfectly. The seeking is the reward. The purchase is almost beside the point. If you recognize this experience, your brain has become very efficient at harvesting the dopamine hit from the browsing phase alone, which means you are also very susceptible to doing it for long stretches without even realizing time has passed. Very cat of you, actually. Endlessly batting at things you were never gonna catch. Sign 3. You justify it before you buy it. The justification happens fast and it sounds very reasonable. I've been working hard. I deserve this. It is technically on sale. I would have spent this on dinner anyway. I've been wanting this for months. These are not rational assessments. These are your prefrontal cortex being recruited by your reward system to build a legal case for a decision that was already made emotionally. If the justification appears before the purchase, the emotion came first. Sign 4. You hide purchases or avoid looking at your bank balance. This one is uncomfortable. When you stop tracking your spending, or when packages arrive and you move them quietly before anyone asks, your brain is protecting you from information that would interrupt the loop. Avoidance is a signal. What you're avoiding is the evidence that the pattern exists. And as long as you do not have to look at the evidence, the pattern can continue running invisibly. Sign 5. You feel a crash after buying something you were excited about. You bought the thing. It arrived. You felt almost nothing. Or worse, you felt slightly bad. This is the dopamine anticipation curve completing its arc. The brain was excited about the possibility. Reality, however beautiful the thing is, cannot compete with possibility. If you experience this crash regularly, your brain is addicted to the chase, not the thing itself. The thing was never really the point. Sign 6. You shop to celebrate and also to cope. This is a sneaky one. Most people expect emotional spending to happen in dark moments, but it happens in good ones too. Promotion? Shopping. Heartbreak? Shopping. Bored on a Tuesday? Shopping. When spending becomes the default response to every emotional state, high or low, it has stopped being a choice and started being a reflex. The emotion does not matter anymore. The reflex fires regardless. Sign 7. You feel a sense of control from spending when life feels chaotic. This one is psychologically very specific. When your external circumstances feel unstable, uncontrollable, or overwhelming, making a purchase gives you a moment of pure agency. You decided something. You acted. Something moved because you moved it. That feeling of control is genuinely real. The problem is that it is borrowed. And like all borrowed feelings, it needs to be returned. Usually in the form of financial anxiety later that compounds the original chaos you were trying to escape. Sign 8. Your spending follows your social media use. Research published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology links upward social comparison directly to increased impulsive purchase likelihood. Translation: you see what someone else has, your status-related dopamine circuits activate, and you want to close the gap. You don't have to consciously think, "I'm envious." The activation happens below the level of awareness. If you've ever opened Instagram and 30 minutes later found yourself buying something you had no intention of buying when you woke up, you have experienced this exact sequence. The algorithm knows this. That is not paranoia. That is the business model. Sign 9. You know it's a pattern and you do it anyway. This is the one that feels most defeating. You can identify every sign in this list. You've probably tried to stop multiple times. You set the rule and broke it. You deleted the app and reinstalled it. You recognize the justification happening in real time and watch yourself justify anyway. This is because by the time a pattern is established, it is not running on conscious decision-making anymore. It has been handed off to habit circuitry, which is faster, cheaper for the brain to operate, and almost entirely outside the reach of willpower. Knowing it is a trap and walking into it anyway is not weakness. It is what happens when a habit has moved to a level of the brain that your conscious awareness does not have easy access to. None of these signs make you bad with money. They make you a person whose brain found a fast and available solution to emotional discomfort and repeated it enough times that it became automatic. Your brain is doing exactly what brains do. It is seeking relief using the most accessible tool it has been given. The tool happens to have a checkout button and free 2-day shipping. That is a design feature, by the way, not an accident. The entire architecture of online retail is built around reducing the friction between the dopamine spike and the purchase, so that your prefrontal cortex has as little time as possible to get involved. You're not failing at willpower. You are being out-engineered by a multi-billion-dollar industry that has studied your neurology more carefully than you have. Which means the starting point is not discipline. It is just this: knowing what is actually running. Because a reflex you can see is a reflex you can interrupt. Not every time, not immediately. But seeing it clearly is the first thing that changes before anything else does. You did not need the thing. Your brain needed the feeling. And now, at least, you know which one was really in charge.